Right now, somewhere in the Red Sea, a sailor aboard a Navy destroyer hasn't slept more than 5 hours in 3 days. He's standing watch in the Combat Information Center, eyes locked on a radar screen, knowing he has less than 60 seconds to react if a missile appears. His berthing space below deck is smaller than a prison cell. In 2024 alone, Navy destroyers fired over 200 missiles, defending against nearly 400 enemy attacks. This is the reality that recruitment videos don't show you. This is what life is really like on the tip of the spear. For decades, destroyers have been called the backbone of America's naval power. But behind the steel hull and advanced weapons systems lies a truth that would shock most Americans. The men and women serving on these vessels face challenges that go far beyond combat. And in 2024, those challenges have reached a breaking point. The Arleigh Burke class destroyer is one of the most advanced warships ever built. At over 500 feet long and weighing 9,000 tons, it's packed with cutting-edge radar systems, missiles, and firepower. With a crew of around 300 sailors, these ships deploy worldwide, protecting American interests and international waters. But what the glossy Navy commercials don't tell you is what daily life is actually like for the sailors who operate them. From chronic sleep deprivation to living conditions that would make a jail cell look spacious, destroyer life tests the limits of human endurance. Let us know in the comments what you think about the conditions our sailors face every single day. The sleep crisis. Let's start with the most brutal truth of all. Navy sailors on destroyers are dangerously sleep-deprived. We're not talking about feeling a little tired. We're talking about a systemic crisis that puts lives at risk. According to recent studies from 2024, the average sailor on a surface ship gets only 5.25 hours of sleep per night. The Navy's own requirement is 7.5 hours. That means every single day, sailors are operating at a 2-hour sleep deficit. Nearly 70% of destroyer crews sleep less than 7 hours daily. Here's what makes it worse. These aren't desk workers who can afford to be a little foggy. These are watchstanders monitoring radar systems, operating weapons, and making split-second decisions that could mean the difference between life and death. Research shows that 1 in 4 sailors report symptoms of clinically significant insomnia. Remember the USS Fitzgerald and USS John McCain? In 2017, these two destroyers were involved in separate fatal collisions that killed 17 American sailors. Investigations revealed that crew fatigue played a major role. Sailors were overworked, understaffed, and running on empty. But here's the hard truth. Even after those disasters, even after new policies and fatigue management programs, the problem persists. A 2024 government report found that 93% of Navy officers believe fatigue is underreported among their crews. Why? Because sailors know there's no solution. Reporting exhaustion doesn't reduce the workload. So why can't sailors get enough sleep? The answer is simple. There aren't enough people to do the work. Let's walk through a typical day for a destroyer division officer. He wakes up at 1:45 in the morning for a pre-watch walkthrough at 2 a.m. His watch runs from 3 to 6 a.m. After that, he grabs breakfast and begins his regular duties at 7 a.m. From 7 to 11 a.m., he has exactly 4 hours to lead his division, handle administrative tasks, attend meetings, and manage responsibilities. But those 4 hours aren't really 4 hours. Special evolutions happen, drills get scheduled, equipment breaks down. By the time 3 p.m. rolls around, he's back on watch until 6 p.m. After that, he grabs dinner, and if he's lucky, he's in bed by 6:15 p.m., hoping to get 7.5 hours of sleep before the cycle starts again. That's on a good day. On a bad day, when the ship is conducting flight operations, refueling at sea, or running combat drills, that sleep window vanishes completely. Sailors routinely go days working 18-hour shifts with only a few hours of rest. The Navy's own Crew Endurance Handbook estimated that sailors would have 6 hours per day for routine work in addition to watchstanding. But that didn't account for reality. When you add inspections, training exercises, and operational demands, those 6 hours shrink to 1 or 2. The work doesn't disappear, it just eats into sleep time instead. And here's the kicker. The Navy has been assigning fewer crew members to destroyers than its own studies say are needed. On average, ships operate at about 85% of required manning levels. That means the sailors who are there have to pick up the slack. Longer hours, more watch rotations, less sleep.
Living conditions. Picture trying to sleep in a room with 50 other people. The bunks are stacked 3 high, crammed so tight you can barely turn over. Your personal space is smaller than what federal law requires for prison inmates. In fact, prisoners are guaranteed 25 square feet of space. Destroyer sailors get less. Your rack, as they call it in the Navy, is basically a thin mattress on a piece of canvas stretched across a metal frame. It's so uncomfortable that even when you finally get the chance to sleep, your body can't fully relax. The 2024 studies found that uncomfortable mattresses rank as one of the leading factors preventing sailors from getting adequate rest. Above you, below you, or on one side of your berthing compartment could be a fuel tank, an ammunition magazine, or the ocean itself. The constant hum of machinery never stops. In hot climates, temperatures below deck can hit 110 degrees. Even with fans and air circulation, it feels like sleeping in a metal box. Privacy doesn't exist. You're sharing this space with dozens of shipmates, many of whom work different watch rotations. Someone's always coming and going, making noise, turning on lights. You learn to change clothes in the dark and to sleep through conversations happening 3 feet from your head. Your personal belongings fit into a small locker. Uniforms, toiletries, a few personal items, that's it. Some sailors haven't seen their families in months. Photos and letters from home get tucked into whatever space they can find. These conditions aren't new. They've been the reality of destroyer life for generations. But what has changed is how long sailors have to endure them. Deployments have gotten longer, and operational tempo has increased. Here's something that might surprise you. These destroyers that we depend on for national security spend more time broken than the Navy ever planned for. A Congressional Budget Office report from December 2024 revealed a shocking statistic. Arleigh Burke-class destroyers lose roughly 27% of their operational service lives to maintenance and overhauls. That's more than a quarter of their existence spent in repair yards instead of at sea. The Navy originally estimated these ships would spend about 12% of their lives in maintenance. Reality turned out to be double that. Why does this matter? Because it means fewer ships available for deployment. It means longer deployments for the ships that are operational. It means more stress on crews who have to pick up the slack. Maintenance periods that were supposed to take months are stretching into years. Delays run anywhere from 20 to 100% longer than estimated. The Navy spent an average of $28 million per destroyer on maintenance in 2024. That's a 300% increase since 2009. To compensate, the Navy announced in October 2024 that it would extend the service lives of 12 destroyers beyond their expected 35 years. Ships that were supposed to retire will keep sailing for another 3 to 5 years. Operating ships longer than intended means more breakdowns, more maintenance, and asking aging hulls to keep up with modern demands.
The Navy knows these problems exist. After 2017, policies changed. Fatigue management programs got implemented. Circadian-based watch schedules became mandatory. Training on crew endurance became standard. Ships started collecting better data on sailor sleep and workload. But policies only matter if they're backed up with resources. You can't fix a manning shortage with a PowerPoint presentation. Real change requires real investment. The Navy says it's working toward fully crewing all required positions on its ships, but officials admit that even under the best-case scenario, it'll take 15 years to get there. 15 years of sailors operating under the same conditions that led to disasters. New destroyers are being built, but slowly. The DDG-X program, which will eventually replace the Arleigh Burke class, isn't scheduled to start construction until 2032 at the earliest. In the meantime, the destroyers we have will keep sailing, keep deploying, and keep defending American interests around the world. The sailors aboard them will keep standing watch, keep making it work, and keep proving that American naval power remains unmatched. They've earned our respect, our support, and our gratitude. Not just words, but real action to fix the problems they face every single day. These brave men and women are the reason we sleep safely at night. They stand the watch in the worst conditions imaginable, and they do it without complaint.